Okay, hello, this is James Larochelle reporting for CUTV, and today we're here at the Comic Con convention in the Bell Amphitheatre, and we're here with Gary Cohn. Sorry, I forgot the name. But you're the editor of an independent line of comics. Does it have...
I'm the editor of Crusade Comics, and we publish She, the Way of the Warrior, and several spin-offs, including the miniseries Tomo, which will be coming out in February, the She Cyblade crossover, which we did with Top Cow, which is one of the Image studios, and a number of other things.
Okay, now basically you've been in the business for a number of years. How do you must enjoy this, right?
I'm a sucker for this business. Every time I try to get away from it, something pulls me back in, and there's new opportunity, and there's always new things going on. There's always chaotic upheaval in comics, and every time you think that comics has settled down and turned into one kind of beast, it transforms itself into another. And that's what keeps me coming back.
You're the editor, and you've said that you wrote one of these comics. You've wrote several comics, but do you actually do any of the drawing yourself, or?
No, I'm not an artist. If I was an artist, I would be in a much better position than I am. But artists are the kings of this business. Everything turns on the art. But no, I'm not an artist.
So basically the artists are the ones who command the big bucks, or?
Well, more than that, the artists are the ones who generate the kind of creativity that you see immediately. When you pick up a comic book, the first thing you see isn't the words. The first thing you see is the art.
Right.
So what's going to hook you for a comic book initially is going to be the art. What will keep you hooked ultimately, I hope, is the words, the combination of words and pictures that creates the story. But the initial grabber is, wow, this is great art. And that's why artists are preeminent.
But sometimes several comic books have to change artists for different reasons, whether they've gone on to do other projects or have moved to another company. Do you think that might have a deleterious effect on the comics themselves?
It depends on the book, it depends on the artist, it depends on who takes the place of whom. These are hard to say. There are so many different fine artists, and there are so many variations that, let's say you move from, in an X book, you move from one really well-established, talented artist to another. There's going to be a desire to see the interpretation of this new artist as opposed to what the old guy was doing. So that's not necessarily going to hurt the book. On the other hand, when you have a book like She, Way of the Warrior, which is Billy Tucci's creation, there's no way that that book could have another artist. One of the virtues of the independent comic books, as opposed to the mainstream comics, long-established books, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, is that with a book like She, you're talking about an individual's vision. You're talking about one person's creative spark and one person's interest in creating and stating his own viewpoint. This is very different from something which is primarily a market driving force, a commercial endeavor. It's not that a book like this can't be commercially successful. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Now, I'm going to move away for a second, and I'll come back to the comics in a bit. But I also, well, he managed to con us, well, not really con us, but he got $1 out of us for a little pamphlet on how to drop out of college. How to flunk out of college, I'm sorry. And basically, what exactly does that entail?
Well, as I mentioned to you, I have a couple of lives, and one of them is academic. I'm an adjunct professor of English at a college on Long Island in New York, and I'm an adjunct professor of history at City College in Harlem. And I've been a student for many years. I've been there, done that. And one of the things I developed a real understanding of is how to blow college, how to really destroy an academic career. I also spent a year as an academic advisor where I had 200 students, and my job was to try to make sure that they didn't blow their academic careers. In the course of that, I learned all the strategies for destroying your career, And I collected them in one clever little pamphlet. I hope it's clever. Where the basic inversion, of course, is this is what you don't do. But we have don't go to class, don't take notes, don't do homework assignments, procrastinate, fall in love. These are all the things that people do that give them excuses for not doing classwork and not getting an education.
So this would be like a reverse psychology approach or something like that. Wouldn't want to have anybody actually follow these instructions and flunk out of college. But then again,
Like this one. Don't own a calendar. Or if you do, don't ever mark dates on it. Don't own a watch. Or if you do, make sure it's broken or set wrong. Don't own a daily organizer. Or if you do, use it only to write down the telephone numbers of friends. And speaking of friends, if you follow a few simple rules of college social life, you are sure to completely destroy any chances of academic success. And there they are.
so there you have it for all you university or college folks out there. Get that pamphlet. It's only $1. Okay, now we're going to go back to comics. Now, through your 15 years of working, have you had any of your own personal characters animated in any? I'm curious into animated series.
No. About a dozen years ago, I was co-creator of 2 books for DC Comics called Blue Devil and Amethyst, Princess of Gemworld. At various points in the course of those 2 books being published, there was talk about both of them becoming anything from animated series to movies to toy lines to TV live action series. None of that happened.
But I guess you would love it if it did happen.
Sure. One of the things that's going to be very nice to see is my friend Billy Tucci's property become a movie, which it will be.
It will?
Yeah, there's talk, there are negotiations. At some point, this will be a major movie.
Well, especially now that several comics from companies like, the Mask and stuff like that, which have transcended to the movie realm and have been quite successful. So,
Made the jump, and the movie industry has discovered that we're a great, fertile area to exploit. Exploit is as good a word as any.
because for the longest time, comics have been considered just for kids or something like that, and I guess that you've always been trying to promote that that's not the case.
Yeah, it's curious that in the United States, comics remains a very ghettoized kind of medium. There are perhaps 250,000 hardcore comic book buyers and readers in the United States, so it's not in any way a mass medium. And even when you have movies like The Mask and The Crow, these don't seem to affect the sales of the books they're based on. You don't have a sudden upsurge in sales of Mask comic books after the success of that movie, after the existence of a cartoon, the animated Mask. These don't affect the sales of the book. So the book remains this kind of seed that generates all this other stuff, but it doesn't cut both ways.
So basically, the comic book is attracting the attention of the producers, but not necessarily the people who go watch them.
What it's saying is that for the mass market, the subject matter is attractive, the medium is not. So that when the subject matter appears in another medium, it builds a mass audience.
Now you're working for in the independent world right now. Would you ever consider going back to mainstream, either one of the big two, or?
Depends on how much money they offered me. It's not in the cards at the moment, but again, you never say never.
Now, in this crossover that we were talking about that you did with Image, was it? Or?
Yeah, with Top Cast Studios, Mark Silvestri's studio.
Okay, now you've used a lot of characters in that. I noticed the Tick, Cerebus, the Aardvark, and all that, and those. Were you did you approach them and ask and get positive feedback, or did they come to you?
No, we approached them. Billy Tucci and I generated this idea initially after talking with our friends at Top Cow. And what we felt was that there's so much turmoil in the industry, and there was such a major power grab being made by the big two, that someone had to make a statement about the virtue of the individual vision and the richness of independent comics. We had the opportunity to do that. We've been very blessed by being about as successful as any independent company on the market. So we felt that it was a great opportunity to present things that many people haven't seen otherwise. We have characters in here from books that in the great scheme of things, many retailers don't even carry, and that's a shame. So we've got this shot here, for instance, of all these great characters, and what we want to say and try to say in the story is this is a good thing. This kind of diversity enriches the industry and the medium, and you should check these characters out.
But by that same token, would you think that a crossover with one of the major companies would also have the same effect, or would it have a different effect?
Well, this does that too, since we are crossing over. The generative spark here is that we're crossing over with one of Image's top-selling characters, Cyblade. So the attraction initially, the lure, the bait for the reader is, wow, she and Cyblade together. And in the Image book, they got mostly she and Cyblade together. But that leads into our book, and now that they've been hooked, she and Cyblade together, they get to see all these other characters too.
Okay. I guess I'll ask, what do you think of Montreal?
It's a beautiful city. I arrived here on motorcycle yesterday from New York, and I feel at a tremendous loss, though not knowing French. I feel extremely inadequate. It makes me wish I did, and think maybe I should. I took a ride on Catherine Street, St. Catherine, last night, and watched all the motorcyclists, and walked around and entered the Vampire Club, which was about 20 years too young for me, but pretty interesting nevertheless, and felt like it would be a great city to spend some time in. I'm just not connecting with it yet. I'm hoping that when some Montrealers take me around tonight and show me the sights, that connection will happen.
Maybe you'll even base a comic book in Montreal.
Maybe I will.
Okay, well, I guess that's about all for now. I'd like to thank you for talking with us today, and hopefully you'll come back again and come visit us or something, maybe drop by our studios.
Just asked if I would like to eat pizza.
Oh,
That was that nod.
okay. So,
Let me give you your plug. This is Gary Cohn appearing to you on CUTV in Concordia College? Concordia University. And I'm sure it's a wonderful school, and you should get me to visit as an academic sometime. Invite me up as a guest lecturer or something.
right, you'll tell people how to flunk out of college. Okay.
Writers' workshops, you name it.
Okay, well, thanks a lot. So that's it. Hello, we're still at the comic book convention, and we're talking with one of the dealers here. What exactly is it that you're selling here?
We're not selling anything. We're showing animations because we have a club at the University of Montreal, and this is just like show to tell people that we're here.
Okay. Oh, I believe I've heard. I think I talked with you on the over the internet. Is that possible, or?
Possible. I've got an email address.
Okay. So you're into anime.
Yes.
Is there any particular series that you show more often than others at this?
Well, depends. We've got TV series. We're showing next year. We're probably going to show City Hunter. It's a bit perverted, I'd say. Well, just mostly fun to watch. We're also showing Pat Labor this season. We've shown Urusei Yatsura. We might show other series like Kimagure Orange Road, and depends on what people might be interested in.
We at CUTV are very interested in Ranma Half.
Ranma Half. Well, the policy is as this far is that since it's so easy to get, why should we show something that everybody can get their hands on? The idea is to show animation that you can't get commercially, or probably wouldn't otherwise buy because it just you haven't heard of it, or you don't know what you're getting.
So it's basically to get people more involved and see what's out there.
Yeah, to get them to see, give some attention to animations that don't get the attention, that should get the attention.
But occasionally you do show some of the bigger stuff too. I believe I saw a sign once that was said you were showing a Ranma series.
Yeah, well, we've shown a few Ranmas. We've shown some OVAs. We've shown some episodes like episodes of 110, 111 that you're not gonna see anytime soon from Viz, if ever.
Do you have your own particular favorite series, or?
Well, me, it's like Crusade for my taste. I know.
That from the shirt? Or?
Yeah, I bought this came with the LD.
Look at the show.
Oh, sorry. It came with the LD TV series LD box set that Animate brought out.
So that was a special offer that you got with it? And
Yeah, it's like I got 10 LDs out of it. The box is over there by our stand.
How do you get these stuff that you show? Do you send to the companies directly, or?
Well, we buy them from the company. We buy some tapes. We sometimes rent them, and we get obviously fan subs. We try to get mostly fan subs because this is stuff you cannot get from commercially owned. Like for example, Gundam. Like one of the other people that's involved in our showings, he's a major fan of Gundam, so he tries to get anything he can from Gundam, like Zeta Gundam or the last movie, and so on.
We've tried our hand at dubbing some stuff at CUTV. That was fun.
Yeah, so there have been some stuff like I've got a few episodes at home, like Dirty Pair with the fan dub they call it. Like they completely changed the text. Everybody's bitches and stuff.
What we did. So we did that with Dragon Ball. So
that's pretty good.
well, anyways, thanks for talking with us. And anybody who's interested in anime can drop by the University.
Université de Montréal, Jean Talon, 3200, Jean Brillant, Pavillon Jean Brillant.
And you convene mostly on Saturdays, I believe it is.
Yeah, we got a calendar for those who are interested. Like we have a showing today, and then a few weeks later.
Okay. Well, check it out. We're still at the comic book convention, and we've got yet another person to come talk to us. So, basically, what are you here for?
Well, we're promoting our new book, Awakening Half Number, and also Soul Slayer or Ashcan.
And this is, I'm assuming it's an independent production?
The name of the company is called Void Comics.
Are you from the Montreal area?
Yeah.
So you're an independent company within the city of Montreal.
We're trying to make it out right to across North America.
How long have you been doing this?
Well, I could say almost like 4 years I've been working on the project. I mean, I'm trying to develop it and get artists and writers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And now we reached a final point that now we're ready to go on to the market.
So you thought this was the perfect opportunity to get started, huh?
Yes. I mean, it's supposed to be the greatest convention in Canada. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people, people can see, you have exposure, all that stuff.
Okay, so did they approach you or did you approach them on coming here?
I could say it's a little bit of both.
A little bit of both?
Because I also worked on the graphic design for the poster for this convention. Right. So he already proposed to me the idea of having a table here.
And you jumped at the chance?
Yes.
So you're happy to be here. I saw you talking with some other people. Have you been relatively successful today, or?
Oh yeah, I'm very happy and proud of our work.
You're gonna be back tomorrow again?
For sure.
Okay, well, thanks for talking to us.
Thanks.
Okay, Goomba that I am, I forgot to ask this wonderful man's name, so I'm going to ask him now. Name?
Sebastien Samuels, editor of Void Comics.
Okay, so remember when you're in the mood for comics, look at Void. So, okay, I ran after this guy, got him back because I remembered I didn't get his name. So we're going to get his name, give a nice little plug and all that kind of stuff.
My name is Jonathan Marquis, and from the University of Montreal Club Animate.
There you go. So now you all know who this man is, and so when you call, you'll know who to ask for, right? Right. Okay. So thanks again. Okay. And yet another one of them reports from the comic book convention, and this time we've got one of the buyers here. What brought you here to the convention?
Comic books. I'm a fan. I buy comic books. It's an excellent hobby, I think, and it's one of the few times in the year when we can buy and see leaders and buy older stuff other than the regular.
Was there anything in particular that you were looking for today, or?
I'm the same as usual. I'm collecting special titles, and I'm looking forward to improve my collection.
How long have you been collecting comic books for?
Well, I've been collecting off and on for 20 years, and now that I work and I have more money, I've been buying more extensively in the last 3 years.
Buying some of the more expensive titles as well?
Yes, now that you're getting into the older books, they tend to get more expensive. Yeah.
But is there one particular series that you never miss, or?
Well, I'm collecting steadily the Superman titles. I'm a big Superman titles.
So a couple of years ago when the Superman Death saga came out, you must have been pretty amazed at that one? Or?
Well, that was a good storyline, yes. I was already collecting before that, but that story was a pretty good one, and it brought back a lot of people to the comic book industry. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's about it. Nothing more complicated than that, so thanks a lot for coming in. Okay.
周りにいつも男たち取り巻いてでナーバスまるで君はヴィーナス次に起こったミラクルさ砂漠の中から見つけ出したジュエル迎えに行くよどんな時も振り回されてもどんどんと Crazy for you 形の見えないつながりを信じたいEye to eye 時には確かめ合いたいよ Don't you know, no, no, it's love 小麦色した君の肌やたらそそるアクション高すぎるよテンション会えない夜は目の下に黒いエニグマがシャドウを塗りに来る違う匂いじゃ気がつかないスタイルスマイルまとめて学ばし形の見えないつながりで感じたいHeart to heart 時には確かめ合わなくちゃ Don't you know, no, no, it's love 飾りのない素顔に戻る時弱さも涙も見せて俺だけに離さない離れないこのままいつまでも時を重ねていこうそしていつか感じから形の見えないつながりを知りたい Eye to eye 時には確かめ合いたいよ Don't you know, no, no形の見えないつながりで感じたい Heart to heart 時には確かめ